Friday, August 24th, 1877. We're back home from the meeting now. Tonight, when the call was being made for those wanting to be baptized, I was the first one of my family to go. I just took a deep breath and made myself get off that bench and take a stand for Jesus. Giving my life to Jesus and embracing the truth about a loving God is the best thing that has ever happened to me. As I walked to the front of the tent, I looked back and saw Victoria coming. I was overjoyed. She was smiling from ear to ear. You never would have known she and her mama had just been through such heartache. The loss of a husband and father, followed by the loss of all that money. They truly were trusting in God for their future. When we sang the closing hymn, I sang like I meant it. I may still be shy and soft-spoken, but I am no longer afraid to speak up when God tells me to. By the way, I think tonight there must have been as many people there as there were last year. They were all over the grass outside the tent, and everyone could still hear the lady preacher as she spoke. There is nothing too hard for God. Saturday, August 25th, 1877. My brother and I were baptized today, and so was Victoria, among many others. I am so glad that Victoria and I were able to be baptized together. She and her mama knew that if her papa had lived, she would have been so proud of Victoria for studying the Bible for herself and committing her life to God. We still aren't sure where Mrs. Parsons will get the money for their move to New York, and I have no idea what will happen with my family here on Mr. Jones' dairy farm, especially since he is no longer around and no one knows where to find him. I have learned that God may not give us answers all at once, and sometimes we just have to wait and keep trusting that God knows best. Victoria and I have agreed to write each other at least once a week. Monday, August 27th, 1877. This morning Papa said we could choose a puppy and bring it home. Johnny and I dashed to the barn, and as always, a little brown and white fluff ball flew out to greet us. It seems that this little fellow has chosen us too. As we walked back toward our house, we took turns holding the pup. Johnny said I could name him. When I looked at him, shocked by his kindness, he said he was sorry I had been keeping such a scary secret for so long, and the least he could do was to let me have the pleasure of choosing a name. I decided on the name Treasure. Johnny and I will treasure this darling puppy because we have wanted him for so long. Wednesday, August 29th, 1877. The sheriff rode out to the farm this morning after breakfast with good news. He told us that Mr. Jones had been found at an inn about 50 miles away. Telegrams had been sent to all the neighboring towns within 100 miles, alerting the sheriffs to look out for this man. The telegram said the man would most likely be visiting the local taverns. Sure enough, that's where they found him. When Mr. Jones was arrested, he had only $5 left on him. The sheriff searched his house on Friday night and found no money hidden. The sheriff had talked to the banker that morning as soon as the bank had opened up. The banker agreed to loan money to the town so that the town could give it to Mrs. Parsons and she could go ahead and move. I'd say that's good news. And there was more. He said that Mr. Jones' property would go up for sale. The money from the sale would pay his debts to the town. The sheriff went on to say that if Papa chose to, he could stay and manage the property until sold, and our family could live off the sales of the milk. Mr. Jones will most likely be in prison for many years. Due to the combination of this theft and other crimes on his record, and will never be able to repay his debt without the farm being sold. I kind of feel sorry for Mr. Jones, especially now that I know God loves us all, even those who make bad choices. Maybe I should pray that he will turn his life over to God and stop drinking. I guess he will have to stop drinking in prison, and it looks like he will have lots of time to think about what he did. Papa also said that the hunting dogs will all be sold to help pay the debts, Except for our treasure, of course. I plan to make sure that whoever buys those dogs will treat them better than Mr. Jones did. So anyway, it looks like we are going to be staying here for some time yet. We still aren't sure what the future holds, but we know that God will take care of us all.